Hey y'all, Aaron Gendel again from Write a Book University. Hope you're having a great day. I wanted to talk to you today about 3 success secrets every author or future author should know. And now, before we jump into that, if there's any additional help you need in writing your book, I've got a free course for you at writeabookuniversity.com/free. You can go there and get a free course, and it'll help you on your journey to writing a book. All right, so let's jump into those 3 secrets. Secret number 1 is, and maybe this isn't as big a secret, but it's setting goals. So we've heard this, I'm sure, time and time again, and it's true for not just your life, but in writing a book. It's very important to set the goals that you have for writing a book. I love the quote. It says, I'm reminded of it, says, if you aim for nothing, you'll hit it every time. So if you don't have something written down, you don't have a goal or plan in mind, you're far less likely to achieve it. So let me give you a quick example from a Harvard Business study. So in this study, they surveyed around, I forget the number of people they surveyed, but 83% of the people they did survey indicated that they didn't have a goal in mind. They didn't have any goals in their life at all. Now, so 14% of the 100% had a goal in mind. They knew what it was. They could verbally express what that was, but they didn't write it down. And then there was a third group of people who had written, knew what their goals were. They wrote them down, and then they took a look 10 years later, and a lot of times we like to attribute success to a monetary thing. So that's what Harvard did, and it was pretty interesting what they found. So the 14% of people that actually had a goal in mind were 10 times more successful financially than the 83% who didn't have a goal. And the 3% who had actually written their goals down were 3 times more successful than that 14%. And then finally, they compared the 3% of the graduates who had written their goals down compared to the graduates who, so the graduates that had written their goals down were 10 times more successful than the people that didn't have a goal in mind. So that 10 years later, they surveyed them. So it's pretty interesting, the relationship between writing a goal down and the success you might achieve. And I encourage you, with writing your book, you do the same thing, right? You need to write your goals down and try to do that on a daily basis. What I do, I don't necessarily write them down every day. I have them written, and then I'll look them up to where I've written them down. It could be on your computer, or it could be in an app. There's lots of ways you could put that down. I use Trello. It's another sort of task management tool that you can use, and there's an app. So I pop that open. I try to look at my goals. And another thing to do is to actually verbalize your goals. Say your goals as if you've already accomplished them. And you might focus maybe on 5 goals, something like that, 5 or less initially. And when you're writing a book, make that one of your goals. Make that a big goal for yourself as part of your big 5. So that's secret number 1. Tip number 1, write your goals down. Try to do that daily. A lot of successful people do that on a daily basis. Sometimes when they wake up, and then also when they go to sleep. It just reinforces what they're going after, right? So the second success secret is, I think very important across all your goals as well. It's finding accountability. So you'll have your goals, and sometimes it can be tough to keep yourself motivated, accountable to, accomplish those, and to hit the dates. It's another thing I encourage you to do is, set dates for your goals and when you want to accomplish them, and make them a shorter time frame, 3 to 6 months, and really just hone in on shorter time periods, because generally the time there's a law that basically says the time that you give a task, you'll fill that time till basically the end of that task till it's due. And we could all relate to this probably in our school days and writing a paper or whatever, right? We would wait to the last minute, the last day before it was due to finish it, right? But we probably could have finished that thing 2 weeks earlier, but we were given a deadline, so we finished it then. So again, give yourself a shorter deadline to push yourself to get that done. But in order to do that, it's very helpful to have accountability. And one way I do that, I personally meet with somebody a good friend that also has some similar goals, similar ambitions, and I meet with him. We try to meet weekly to talk over our goals, go over our Trello board, and work through those things that are important to us, important to our future and our families, and the success we want to achieve in our lives. So I encourage you to find someone who's looking out for themselves in that way too, who's got some dreams, who's got some goals, and work together to find yourselves, to be accountable to each other. And ideally, a weekly basis is good, because then you have that week to really think, okay, at the end of this week, I gotta, I'm going to talk to Joe or whoever it is, right? Or Jill, and you have that touch point, and you got to get something done. You want to try to get something done in that time frame, so that when you talk, you're like, all right, I worked towards this thing. I made something happen, and instead of just saying, hey, I didn't do anything. So that's success secret number 2, to find accountability. Now, success secret number 3, it's very much related to our goals, and this is to find a big why, so a big purpose behind each of our goals. So here, let me give you an example of an exercise you might perform in order to get down to your big why. So in relationship to writing a book, you might say, hey, one of my goals is to write a book. And then I might ask you, okay, well, why do you want to write a book? And you might say, well, it's been, a dream of mine, a goal of mine. I think it would be pretty cool. And of course, those things would be true. But what's the deeper reason behind that? So I might ask you, why do you think it's important to write a book? Why do you think it's important to accomplish that as part of your goals? Something that you've wanted to do for a while, yes, that's very true. But why do you want to do it? And then you might say, well, I really want to help people with my book. I've got this story I want to tell. I've got some people that I really feel need to hear this, and which again would be true, right? And very very on point. But then I might ask you, okay, well, why do you want to help these people? And of course, you might be shocked by that, or say, oh, of course, helping people is a great thing, right, to help others. But I think you got to dig deeper and say, okay, well, what's the main reason I want to help people? Is that because it'll make me feel good? Is that because it'll make them feel good? What's driving you helping others? And you're like, well, I really want to be an example for my kids, so that they'll learn to grow up and to do good things for people, and live by that example. And of course, that'd be true as well. And I might then ask you, well, why is it important that your kids grow up to see that example and do that as well, and follow in your footsteps? So you can see where I'm going, right? As you ask each why, you might get deeper and deeper. And this is an exercise actually I picked up from Dean Graziosi, who's got a great book called Millionaire Success Secrets. And it's a tip and an exercise that you could walk through with somebody else ideally, but you could also just write it down on a piece of paper, something that you can walk through. And he says that generally as you get to that 7th why, that's when you've gone deep enough to then really get at that reason. And I won't walk through any more examples. I think you get the point. But I encourage you to do that exercise with with a partner if you can. Maybe that's just a friend or your spouse, and walk through that and really try that why you want to write a book. And you can do this for all of and I encourage you to do this for all your goals, whether that's writing a book or a goal to run a marathon, right? So this is very applicable to any goal you have. All right, well, I hope you guys appreciated those success secrets for being an author, or if you're already an author, you can use these as well as you write your next book. As if you're a potential future author, which I know many of you are, this will help you to really hone in on the mindset you need to have as you prepare yourself to write a book, and drive at the main reasons why it's important to you, and that will propel you each day to work harder and give you that motivation to get through writing your book, and to obviously enjoy the journey along the way. So I hope you are encouraged by these words today. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.